Selected Poems of Carl Sandburg. By Carl Sandburg. Alice Dunbar Nelson, 1875–1935. B. Alice Ruth Moore, in New Orleans, of mixed African-American, Native American, and European ancestry. Dunbar Nelson was educated at Straight College, now Dillard University. Her Cornell master's thesis on the influence of Milton on Wordsworth was cited at the time. An 1898–1902 marriage to poet Paul Lawrence Dunbar and a later marriage to civil rights activist Robert J. Nelson are the source of her hyphenated name. She is known not only for her poetry but also for her short stories and posthumously published diary. She promoted social justice for women and minorities and was a noted public speaker. I sit and sew. I sit and sew, a useless task it seems. My hands grown tired, my head weighed down with dreams. The panoply of war, the martial tread of men. Grim-faced, stern-eyed, gazing beyond the ken of lesser souls, whose eyes have not seen death, nor learned to hold their lives but as a breath. But I must sit and sew. I sit and sew, my heart aches with desire. That pageant terrible, that fiercely pouring fire. On wasted fields, and writhing grotesque things. Once men. My soul in pity flings. Appealing cries, yearning only to go. There in that holocaust of hell, those fields of woe. But one must sit and sew. The little useless seam, the idle patch. Why dream I here beneath my homely thatch? When there they lie in sodden mud and rain, pitifully calling me, the quick degree ones and the slain. You need me, Christ. It is no roseate seam that beckons me, this pretty futile seam. It stifles me, God, must I sit and sew? 18. Quick, live. 141. Carl Sandburg, 1878–1967. Born in Galesburg, Illinois, and educated at Lombard College, Sandburg for many. B. was drawn both to America's most radical union, the industrial workers of the world, and also to international socialism. The great poems of his first volume, Chicago Poems, 1914, and of the next several years, some of them uncollected or unpublished, reflect his deep commitment to working people and his strong left politics, including his initial opposition to U.S. involvement in World War I and his interest in African American culture. His portraits of black life mix stereotypical elements with moments of real power. Sandburg would later travel the country collecting American folk songs and compile a massive biography of Abraham Lincoln. One of the most popular poets of his time, his full canon, only now coming into print, shows him to be a much tougher and more challenging poet than his posthumous critical reception would suggest. Readers interested in Sandburg should consult not only his complete poems, a misleadingly titled volume, but also the series of supplementary books currently being published. Among the poems here, Planked Whitefish and Elizabeth Umstead are not in his collected poems, and Man, the Manhunter is. They're only in a less aggressive version. Chicago. Hog Butcher for the World. Toolmaker, Stacker of Wheat. Player with Railroads and the Nation's Freight Handler. Stormy, husky, brawling. City of the Big Shoulders. They tell me you are wicked and I believe them, for I have seen your painted women under the gas lamps luring the farm boys. And they tell me you are crooked and I answer, yes, it is true I have seen the gunman kill and go free to kill again. And they tell me you are brutal and my reply is, on the faces of Women and children, I have seen the marks of want and hunger. And having answered so, I turn once more to those who sneer at this my city, and I give them back the sneer and say to them, come and show me another city with lifted head, singing so proud to be alive and coarse and strong and cunning, flinging magnetic curses amid the toil of piling job on job. Here is a tall bold slugger set vivid against the little soft cities, fierce as a dog with tongue lapping for action, cunning as a savage, pitted against the wilderness, bareheaded, shoveling, wrecking, planning, building, breaking, rebuilding. Under the smoke, dust all over his mouth, laughing with white teeth. Under the terrible burden of destiny, laughing as a young man laughs. Laughing even as an ignorant fighter laughs who has never lost a battle. Bragging and laughing that under his wrist is the pulse, and under his ribs the heart of the people. Laughing. Laughing the stormy, husky, brawling laughter of youth, half naked, sweating, proud to be hog butcher, tool maker, stacker of wheat, player with railroads and freight handler to the nation. Subway. Down between the walls of shadow, where the iron laws insist. The hunger voices mock the worn wayfaring men, with the hunched and humble shoulders, throw their laughter into toil. Muckers. 20 men stand watching the muckers, stabbing the sides of the ditch, where clay gleams yellow, driving the blades of their shovels deeper and deeper for the new gas mains, wiping sweat off their faces with red bandanas. The muckers work on, pausing to pull their boots out of suck holes where they slosh. Of the 20 looking on, 10 murmur, oh, it's a hell of a job. 10 others, Jesus, I wish I had the job. 1916-143. Carl Sandburg. Child of the Romans. The Dago shovelman sits by the railroad track, eating a noon meal of bread and bologna. A train whirls by, and men and women at tables, alive with red roses and yellow jonquils, eat steaks running with brown gravy, strawberries and cream, eclairs and coffee. The Dago shovelman finishes the dry bread and bologna, washes it down with a dipper from the water boy, and goes back to the second half of a 10-hour day's work, keeping the roadbed so the roses and jonquils shake hardly at all in the cut glass vases, standing slender on the tables in the dining cars. Nigger. I'm the nigger. Singer of songs. Dancer. Softer than fluff of cotton. Harder than dark earth. Roads beaten in the sun by the bare feet of slaves. Foam of teeth, breaking crash of laughter. Red love of the blood of woman. White love of the tumbling pickaninnies. Lazy love of the banjo thrum. Sweated and driven for the harvest wage. Loud laughter with hands like hams. Fists toughened on the handles. Smiling the slumber dreams of old jungles. Crazy as the sun and dew and dripping, heaving life of the jungle. Brooding and muttering with memories of shackles. I'm the nigger. Look at me. Lamb the nigger. Buttons. I have been watching the war map slammed up for advertising in front of the newspaper office. 1. Dago, pejorative term for person of Italian descent. Buttons, red and yellow buttons, blue and black buttons, are shoved back and forth across the map. A laughing young man, sunny with freckles, climbs a ladder, yells a joke to somebody in the crowd, and then fixes a yellow button 1 inch west, and follows the yellow button with a black button 1 inch west. 10,000 men and boys twist on their bodies in a red soak. Along a river edge. Gasping of wounds, calling for water, some rattling death in their throats. Who would guess what it cost to move 2 buttons 1 inch on the war map here in front of the newspaper office where the freckle-faced young man is laughing to us? Planked whitefish. I'm a-going to live anyhow until I die. AMAP ragtime song. Over an order of planked whitefish at a downtown club. Horace Wilde, the demon driver who hurled the first aeroplane that ever crossed the air over Chicago, told Charlie Cutler, the famous wrestler who never touches booze, and Carl Sandburg, the distinguished poet now out of jail. He saw near Ypres degree a Canadian soldier fastened on a barn door, with bayonets pinning the hands and feet, and the arms and ankles arranged like Jesus at Golgotha 2000 years before. Only in northern France he saw the genital organ of the victim amputated and placed between the lips of the dead man's mouth. And Horace Wilde, eating whitefish, looked us straight in the eyes and piled up circumstantial detail of what he saw one night, running a truck pulling ambulances out of the mud near Ypres in November 1915. A boxcar next to a field hospital operating room, filled with sawed-off arms and legs. Faces in the grey and the dark on the mud flats, white faces, gibbering and loose convulsive arms making useless gestures. 5. Ypres, Belgian city that was a site of intense conflict during World War I. 6. Golgotha, Calvary, where Jesus was crucified. Carl Sandburg and Horace Wilde, the demon driver who loves fighting and can whip his weight in wildcats, pointed at a blue button in the lapel of his coat, PEACE, spelled in white letters, and he blurted, 15 T don't care who the hell calls me a pacifist. I don't care who the hell calls me yellow. I say war is the game of a lot of goddamned fools. See 1916. Cool tombs. When Abraham Lincoln was shoveled into the tombs, he forgot the copperheads and the assassin. In the dust, in the cool tombs. And Ulysses Grant lost all thought of con men and Wall Street. Cash and collateral turned ashes, in the dust, in the cool tombs. Pocahontas' body, lovely as a poplar, sweet as a red whore. In November or a pawpaw? In May, did she wonder? Does she remember? In the dust, in the cool tombs? Take any street full of people buying clothes and groceries, cheering a hero or throwing confetti and blowing tin horns, tell me if the lovers are losers, tell me if any get more than the lovers. In the dust, in the cool tombs. Grass. Pile the bodies high at Austerlitz and Waterloo. Degree. Shovel them under and let me work. Lamb the grass, I cover all. 1. Copperheads, Southern sympathizers in the North during the American Civil War. 1. Assassin, John Wilkes Booth, 1838 to 1865. 2. Grant, Civil War general and U.S. President, whose second administration was notoriously corrupt. He went bankrupt after leaving office. 3. Red Hawthorn Berry. 3. Papaw, fruit of the papaw tree. 1. Austerlitz, the December 1805 site, in Moravia, of one of Napoleon's great victories. Napoleon Bonaparte, 1769 to 1821, French general and emperor, a titanic figure in European history. 1. Waterloo, the battle at Waterloo, Belgium, where Napoleon was defeated in June of 1815. And pile them high at Gettysburg. Degree. and pile them high at Ypres and Verdun. Degree. Shovel them under and let me work. 2 years, 10 years, and passengers ask the conductor, "What place is this? Where are we now?" "I'm the grass." "Let me work." Fog. The fog comes. On little cat feet. It sits looking. Over harbour and city. 5 on silent haunches. And then moves on. Gargoyle. I saw a mouth jeering. A smile of melted red iron ran over it. Its laugh was full of nails rattling. It was a child's dream of a mouth. A fist hit the mouth, knuckles of gunmetal driven by an electric wrist and shoulder. It was a child's dream of an arm. The fist hit the mouth over and over, again and again. The month bled. Melted iron, and laughed its laughter of nails rattling. And I saw the more the fist pounded, the more the mouth laughed. The fist is pounding, and the mouth answering. Elizabeth Umstead. I'm Elizabeth Umstead, dead at 75 years of age, and they are taking me in. A polished and silver-plated box today, and an undertaker, assured of cash for his. For Gettysburg, the July 1863 Pennsylvania site of a major defeat for the Confederacy in the American Civil War. 5. Ypres and Verdun, major battles with considerable casualties in 1914, 1915 S, and 1917, Ypres, Belgium, and 1916, Verdun, France, during World War I. The third battle near Ypres in particular is considered a massive and fruitless loss of life. It lasted for months and was fought in deep mud, into which men and horses sank without a trace. 147. Carl Sandburg. Work will supply straps to let the box down the lean dirt walls, while a quartet of singers, assured of cash for their work, sing a nearer my God to thee, and a clergyman, also assured of cash for his services, will pronounce the words, dust to dust, and ashes to ashes. I'm gone from among the two-legged moving figures on top the earth now, and nobody will say my heart is some way wrong when assert, I was the most beautiful nigger girl in northern Indiana, and men wanted my beauty, white men and black men, they wanted to take it and crush it and taste it, and I learned what they wanted and I traded on it, schemed and haggled to get all I could for it, and so, lamb. One nigger girl who today has a grand funeral with all the servitors paid in spot cash. I learned early, away back in short dresses, when a lawyer took me and used me the same as a brass cuspidor or a new horse and buggy or a swivel chair or anything that gives more life ease for spot cash. He paid $600 cash to me for the keep of the child of my womb and his loins. And then he went to a revival, sang a Jesus knows all about our troubles, moaned he was a sinner and wanted Jesus to wash his sins away. He joined the church and stood up one night before hundreds of people and blabbed to them how he used me, had a child by me, and paid me $600 cash. And I waited till one night I saw him in the public square and I slashed his face with a leather horsewhip, calling all the wild crazy names that came to my tongue to damn him and damn him. And damn him, for a sneak in the face of God and man. CD 1919. Man, the Manhunter. I saw Man, the Manhunter, hunting with a torch in one hand and a kerosene can in the other, hunting with guns, ropes, shackles. I listened, and the high cry rang. The high cry of Man, the Manhunter. We'll get you yet, you son of a bitch. I listened later. The high cry rang. Kill him. Kill him. The Judean equivalent, the son of a bitch. In the morning the sun saw 2 butts of something, a smoking rump, and a warning in charred wood. Well, we got him. The son o' for bitch. CC 1919. 2 hump ties. They tried to hand it to us on a platter. Us hit in the eyes with marconograms from moon dancers. And the bubble busted, went fluey, on a thumb touch. So this time again, Humpty. We cork our laughs behind solemn physiog's. Sweep the floor with the rim of our hats. And say goodbye and goodbye, just like that. Tomorrow maybe they will be hit in the eyes with marconograms from moon dancers. Goodbye.